Hello, world. Happy New Year to all. We're here at the halftime break loose report. Mr. Ralph Sanders, at this time, I feel we need to go right in to the subject and topic at hand. Why don't you go ahead and fill the people in about this website right behind you, Mr.
Definitely, man,
Sanders?
definitely. This website behind us, uh, it's a complaint review. It's called ripoff.com. As you look at ripoff.com, you can go on there right here. This individual that's been attacking me, George Samil, he invented this site on October 12th, 2012, and acted like he was hailing a female out of Los Angeles, and he put my old address on it, which I lived off of 4154 Arizona Way. It's in El Dorado Hills, California. And he went on there and he put my phone number and everything on there. And for the viewers out there, my name is Ralph Sanders. I'm the author of Halftime Hustler and Break Loose. Break Loose is a book about cyberbullying, how I overcame the attacks of 3 years of cyberbullying. Like I said about this site here, Tommy, is that it's a serious issue. I mean, the guy went on there and he pretty much invented some things on there and mixed them up and twisted them with the things in my first book, Halftime Hustler, that came out 3 years ago. It was published to the first publisher that was out of Denver. And I won't mention that publisher's name online just to protect them. He pretty much got me excluded from that publisher. He pretty much got me dismissed by harassing them and writing them blogs and things like that. If you zoom up on here, right here, Tommy, in this book here, you will see there's an article that I have put in this book. Like I said, I'm Ralph Sanders. I am the author of this book, Halftime Hustler. And as I pull up this article here, you will see right here, it says an ex-Footy Hill basketball star was arrested on theft and forgery charges. I was 22 years old, and it talks about how I broke into the dorms and committed forgery at Stanford University. Now, I was going to San Jose State and Foote College at the time. So it talks all about what I'd done, all my dirt, about how I lied, how I cheated. I thought I'd be positive and go into the community since I've been out of jail for many years now, over 20 years that is, and thought I'd write a book about my life, you know, how I've overcame and how I've overcame the things that caused me to fall down and, you know, ruin my chances of being in the NBA. So I played a little semi-pro and stuff like that, and I experienced some tough things in my life that allowed me to fall into the cracks of things that I didn't really like. So I changed my life from going that way. But back to this ripoff site, where if you zoom into it, Tommy, real quick, I'm just going to take a quick minute here and explain to you about ripoff.com. Ripoff.com is pretty much a site, it's a report site where you can target businesses when businesses feel like you've been ripped off, consumers, you know, and they can express their feelings, they can express their slandering and things like that. And they're protected by a slandering freedom of speech, that is. So this individual, George Samil, his last name is Semeil. You can Google him, George Samil. He goes as George Francis on his ID. He used to be a neighbor of mine. Like I said, I lived in El Dorado Hills in a very prestigious area. It's a gated community, and he decided to go on there. This is a man that watched my daughter. My daughter was 13 months old, by the way. And as you zoom up in here, Tommy, real quick, you will see as you can be anyone you want on this site, and you can go in here and you can put anyone's address, such as my old address, 4154 Arizona Way, El Dorado Hills, California, and my old phone number. That's my old phone number right there, and I changed it. So he personally only knew these things. So when he put this on here in 2012, he wrote this article, The Halftime Hustler, Ralph Sanders, a.k.a. Juveniles at Risk. Sanders, a.k.a. is an ex-con arrested by Stanford University. Detective Tim Passeri, convicted twice of theft, forgery, burglary, and battery, and other crimes, have served 15 years, live in El Dorado Hills. He made that site, Tommy, he made that site seem as if I had just got released from an institution and I lived up there to rent out a home in El Dorado Hills to scam people, to do fraudulent fundraising, to fraudulent churches, businesses, small businesses, so forth, to gain access to material things such as the cars I drive, such as the lifestyle that I have. This individual lived right down the street from me, and he will not stop attacking me.
Mr. Sanders.
Yes.
Now, how can somebody with such a mental disorder be able to articulate his words on the computer in which ways he convinces people, authorities of such?
Well, Mr. Sunil is a very he's a very sharp guy. I'll give that to him. He really is, and I'm very surprised how he was exposed. You know, when I went to Google his name, when I got his real name 2.5 years ago, when it came up, and I Googled his name, and I saw all kinds of prison paperwork on him, how he was incarcerated at Atascadero State Prison Hospital, and how he was writing up the officers there, the correction officers. He was filing a civil lawsuit with the correction officer, and he did it fairly well. How he filed a civil lawsuit against Maximus, which is a place he worked for in Rancho Cordova, I believe, also. And I went down to Sacramento County Records Room, and you can get these files, Tommy. You know, anyone can get these files as long as you pay for them, and they're available. You can get my files from my Forge and Burglary; they're available. So I got these files, and I started reading all these documents, how he manipulates and how he moves things, vocabulary, and how he moves his words smoothly to pretty much chase people away, like my publisher. You know, and what makes him so intelligent and smart, and he's supposed to be mental at the same time? Tommy, a lot of people that get insanity pleas that shoot their wife or shoot their husband, and they get an insanity plea, they get off, and they go in an institution for a matter of years, they can come out kind of screwed up more than what they went in. You know?
Well, this is such a big thing. This is so interesting. In case people want to read about this and follow up on your books, how could they, read your books and get your books?
Well, you can get my books right now. I am self-published right now, as of what George Sunil has caused my publisher pretty much to cease working with me after talking to them. They're still comfortable with me as a friend and a person. They are a Christian publisher. They're a very great publisher, and I don't want to give their name up right now because just to protect their publisher. They're a new publisher, and very good people there. George Sunil started attacking them and writing them things and harassing their department there and calling the owner and just really writing false civil paperwork to say that there's things in my book about this and about that, and these people just didn't want to deal with it. So they told me in a nice way, it's probably best to self-publish your book right now because we're a new publisher and we really don't need any drama right now. So this man has did this 3 times, and he goes online, he boasts about it.
So, Mr. Sanders, let's go ahead and talk about Break Loose. Inform the people about what the book is about.
Well, like I was saying earlier, the Break Loose from the internet, it's about my story about being cyberbullied and the decision to stay firm and strong in the face of horrendous circumstances. And without God's help, I would have never wrote this book, and without God's help as well, Tommy, I wouldn't have never got through the attacks of what this man is doing to me. They're so hideous, and it's very brainstorming. It really is, man. It's one of those kind of attacks where it's like, will this thing ever stop? You know, will George Sunil ever stop attacking me, having an obsession on me? A man that shot his wife in 1983 in the arm twice and tried to kill her, and he pleaded an insanity plea, and he went to an Atascadero State Prison Hospital. Now, he claims this, Tommy, that he's not the individual. So I guess I can talk about this individual, right? He claims he's not the individual. I've taken this man to court many times up in Placerville County, and he goes to court and he says that he's not this individual, that Ralph Sanders is attacking him, that Ralph Sanders is slandering him, that Ralph Sanders is writing blogs on him. Now, Tommy, I got to tell you something. I'm glad you came over today. I got to tell you that you came to visit me today because on this ripoff report right here, if you come up a little bit closer, Tommy, on this ripoff report, recently, he has actually shut down my recent publisher, which is my 3rd publisher, okay? Like I said, I had a publisher out of Indiana and I had a publisher out of Denver, but my publisher in Vegas, he shut down. He wrote this as of today: Break Loose shut down by 3rd publisher. Now, this man's a stalker, okay? And if you will see right here, he goes on to Noah. Now remember, on this ripoff report, you can go as any name you want to go under, okay? As long as you create an email account, and you can be Madonna, you can be Charlie Sheen, you can be Ralph Sanders, you can be Tommy Anderson, and you can just start slandering people. This is what he wrote on this ripoff report right here, Tommy. This is very interesting because he's a very creative writer. He should write a book himself. He says, He says Thursday, January 14, 2016. Self-publishing takes money, sometimes quite a lot, on the part of an author because a publisher company has to be paid for everything, often including a minimum book order. The question is, who paid for these services on Sanders' behalf, since Sanders is always broke and has no job? We don't need to get into all this slandering because we know that it's false. I do have a job. Actually, he has written my job. He's written corporate at my job.
Well, let me come in on that, Mr. Sanders. It seems like this guy has an obsession. How has this affected you? Has it came in place of your family?
Well, he's affected my family a lot. You know, this is the man, like I said, once again, I'll say it again, that he watched my little daughter when she was 13 and we took our daughter away. And it's really triggered his issues that he needs to be on medication treated for. And apparently he has an obsession on me. And like I was saying, his ex-wife he tried to kill in 1983. He was on PCP, and it was out of Inglewood, California. He's a Puerto Rican man. He's 65 years old today. Not today is his birthday, but this year he's 65. And to answer your question, Tommy, he has some issues with the mental health department, and he should be connected with them, but he isn't. I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Well, has this affected your work, your employment?
Of course, it affects my relationship with people. It affects my faith. It affects my finances, especially. I've lost so much money over this individual shutting down my websites. I had to fight the courts to get them back up. He shut down a lot of things that I had going on personally. He just shut down my publisher. I talked to my publisher. They're friends with me. They're a Christian publisher. They're very afraid of this guy. They're very, very afraid of it. After reading this today, what he did, he even went down into my reviews on my Amazon. If you go to my Amazon right here, he went down into my reviews. So let's go to Amazon. Let's slide back here a little bit. If you slide back here, this computer fairly works pretty fast here, Tommy. Let's see here. So it goes back to Amazon. But right here, there you go. So you go in my name and you see right up top, you see the Halftime Hustler, ripoff.com. It does not come off your Google engine search. It does not come off. If you go down to the third one, it says Halftime Hustler Ralph Sanders. That's my website. So if you want to go into my website, it comes up. Okay? And as it comes up, you see my website, and you can scroll down a little bit on my website right here, and you see Break Loose for sale on Amazon. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. You know, nice music comes up, which is pretty nice. So if you go into Amazon, here you go. We're gonna go in there, turn that music off. That's one of my favorite songs, by the way. So here it is. I got 3 stars on this one. These 3 stars come from George Semeil, Semeil. That's his last name. You should Google him when you get a chance, Tommy. If you scroll down right here, this is what he put on one of my reviews today. He put right here, it has 1 star, and it says right here in this 1 star, a third publisher had to delist Ralph Sanders' frivolous book, Break Loose. So he goes under Casey right here. Remember on the ripoff.com, he went under Noah. So he's just January 9th, 2016. He says, although 3 publisher houses have dropped him like a hot potato. Now, hot potato is one of the words that he used on the ripoff site last year when he says, I'm going to be in jail like a hot potato. Now, he goes on here and he creates all these imaginary articles and imaginary stories, how I'm ripping off people, how I'm conning people, how people should be afraid of me, how I'm this undercover sex offender, how I got a lot of countries and counties out there that are investigating me for fraud and credit card fraud. Now, this book, Break Loose, is exposing Mr. Semeil, Semeil. His name is not in this book, and to protect his privacy is not in this book. But I will say his name because I'm not slamming him, because he's really doing this to me. Now, to answer your question about the reviews here, Tommy, what was your question again about the review? You said
Well, in regards to the reviews, is this stemming from his obsession and his writings, where these reviews are coming from, what he's stating in the paragraphs and the words that he's writing?
Well, yes, the words that he's writing is. I'm not a psychologist, and of course you're not a psychologist, but we can't figure out why he keeps doing what he's doing. You know, if he sees something that says must read, such as I had this pleasure to meet Ralph Sanders in person. He's doing well, and he will go and he will respond to something very negative. So, but blog, they say sticks and stones don't break your bones. Sometimes they do, Tommy. Sometimes they really hurt when it affects your family and your daughter. It affects your living standards and affects your employment. Right now, I am laid off on suspicion of work being paid because of this man has attacked my corporate job. Someone that he knows that went into my job and they went back and told him that I worked there. And he got online, he wrote corporate all these mysterious rebuttals. And so they had to do their due diligence and lay me off. Okay, so if you come close here, Tommy, you can see right here a sneak preview. He goes in a consumer's comment, a sneak preview of Ralph Sanders' new book. Okay, so you go in there, and remember, you can be anything you want. And he says right here, he goes like this. Look at that.
Now that is crazy.
What do you think of that,
Man,
Tommy?
you know what?
Look how big the head is on this small
That does
body.
not
Look at that.
appear like somebody who works at a fitness center
That's right,
at
Tommy.
all. That guy looks like he's 110 pounds, man. What's up with that?
There you go. So he puts my book, The Halftime Hustler, and he says an article right here. Looks like there'll be some truth to his new book. Here's my new book. Okay, my new book right here. And he says Ralph Sanders has a new book coming out. Now he goes into Arthur. What's that name, James? James, right? That's James.
James USA.
July 27, 2015. Now, he puts it a couple times so viewers make sure the viewers don't miss it. That's what he does, right? This guy goes under Judith. This guy goes under Michael. He goes under Obama. He goes under Cowboy. He goes under Firecrackers. He goes under all these A-list rebuttal names. George Samil, I'm calling you out right now. I'm calling you out to come forward. You will not show your face. And guess what else, George Samil? You are being investigated. All the 3 years they're saying I'm being investigated, I've already been investigated. You did your job, George. You wrote the DA's office in Illinois County, Sacramento County, whatever county you want. I'm not doing any crime. Because if I was, I would be locked up by now, Mr. Samil. Now, you on the other hand, Mr. Samil, it's hard to catch you because you're like a mouse. You're a coward. It's hard to catch you. And I feel the best for you. I want you to realize something when you go to sleep at night, George. When you really go to sleep at night, you harmed a lot of people. And this is not cool. It really isn't. You are being investigated. And you'd be surprised who's watching you. You keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job at leaving crumbs behind for detectives to pick up that it's you. You're on that computer. You're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And you know your fingers shouldn't be doing it. But you're doing it anyway. You watched my daughter when she was 13 months old until she was 16 months old. There's no telling what you did to my daughter. Okay, and you know, you suppress these things on me because really, in reality, it's what's really going on with you. You have a background of attempted murder. You're in a mental institution, a Tascadero State Prison. You claim it's not you, it's you. You need to stop doing what you're doing because the more you do this, George, the more your soul's going to feel lost, the more you're going to feel unsaved, the more you're going to feel miserable. You should stop having an obsession on me because it's not gonna help you any. It's not gonna get you anywhere. You need Jesus, man. You really do. You need the Lord Jesus. I forgive you. We can talk. You can call me. You got my number. I know you got my number because you stalked me. You got my number. You can call me. We can meet up for coffee. We can talk about it. I'll forgive you. I have no hard feelings or no vindictive ways towards you, Mr. Samil. Give me a call sometime. All right? We'll talk to you later.